Today we talked to Daniela, she goes by Danny. She is one example of many here in Central Florida of women who were laid off from their jobs. We know that there were a lot of jobs lost during the pandemic. We saw the unemployment numbers here in Florida, and especially in Central Florida with our tourism industry, how hard it was hit. But if you dig deeper into those numbers, it was disproportionately impacting women. And what we found is we started digging deeper into the reasons behind that. It had a lot to do with the child care crisis that occurred during the pandemic, and also just the fact that the types of jobs that were put under strain and put through layoffs, a lot of them were traditionally held by women.
After years of making magic for families and creating her own, meeting her husband and starting a family, Daniela Armendariz lost her dream job at Disney during the pandemic.
Very devastating, first being put on furlough, and then, getting the news that I was just not gonna go back was extremely hard. It's a job that, I put a lot of love into. I met a lot of people. I grew personally.
They had to make a decision in their family of whether she went back to work in a traditional sense or if there was another way that she could make money to help support her family. Did it occur to you that it might be hard to get back into the traditional workforce, or was it a possibility in your mind that you might stay home back early on?
And my oldest was doing first grade, so it definitely meant I needed to stay home with her.
According to the National Women's Law Center, she was one of 5.4 million women who lost a job during the first year of the pandemic. That's 1 million more than men.
So today we talked to Dr. Mindy Schoss. She is an assistant professor here at UCF, and part of the research that she has been doing is on workplace stress. Of course, we know during the pandemic that became a much bigger issue, workplace stress, and how it impacts the demographics that are entering the workforce and also the people who are leaving the workforce.
Obviously, the pandemic exacerbated what was already a major childcare crisis and difficulty for people to try to manage the demands of work and family. Even before the pandemic, the childcare system was kind of a patchwork quilt of duct tape and hope.
She says COVID forced many families into traditional gender roles, meaning working moms who perhaps had lower salaries than their partners to begin with took a step back from the traditional workforce, either by choice or by force.
So I saw a large-scale survey done that suggests that 1 out of 3 working mothers have either scaled back or left their jobs or plan to do so. And that's about 8 million people. This is quite substantial.
She mentioned today, Dr. Mindy Schoss, during our interview, that this has the potential to set the pay gap back by a generation and a half, meaning it could take over 130 years to finally close the pay gap.
This is not just a women's issue. This is an economic issue. This is a business issue. This is a societal issue. And when a large proportion of the workforce, women aren't able to participate, you lose expertise and knowledge and leadership and all the human capital.
What color is that? What color is that?
Green.
That's green. So it's not red yet, so it's not ready.
And another former Disney cast member, Savannah Daigle, turned to full-time freelance work.
Yeah, at one point we were like, is this gonna be what we're making now, But I never really thought that it would be a full-time thing, but the pandemic really made that this is the best option for our family, so that's why we decided to do it.
It seems like your experience is really positive, and I think there are a lot of positive aspects to this, but the other side of the coin is that this could potentially have an impact on the pay gap long term with fewer women in the workforce. It allows men to continue to get ahead, and women will now have this gap on their resume if they do go back into.
I can't really speak on the corporate gap because, like I said, I've never had that corporate real corporate structure. It's it's been a lot of flex, and with what I do, I set my own rates, so it's I'm the one deciding how much to charge. So there's really a lot of power in that. I think with the pandemic, with these more flexible freelance options coming up, more women are deciding, hey, I can take control of what I make. I don't need someone to tell me how much I should make.